Hello, and welcome back to Raaga Rasika. This is a podcast program that explores the world of Carnatic music. Joining me from Albany, New York is Vidya Subramanian. We recently concluded the sequence of episodes on Srimati Veena Dhanammal's Thanam with a snippet in Varali Ragam. Vidya and I thought it would be interesting to feature a composition in this Ragam in today's episode. But first, Vidya, tell us a little bit about Varali, just as a recap.
Definitely. Varali is a very ancient ragam that finds mention in several musical texts. As we discussed in the last episode, it is a Vivadi ragam, with the Vivadi note being the Gandharam. So in the case of Varali, it is the Shuddha Gandharam or Ga1. Some of the other unique attributes of the ragam are the high swarasthanams or frequencies for the ma as well as the ni. As we were discussing as to what would be the best way to illustrate some of the key aspects of this ragam Varali, our attention was drawn to a short but exceptionally brilliant piece in this ragam by Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar. The composition that I'm talking about is Maamava Meenakshi. I'm sure many of you would have heard this piece. It is set to Mishra Chaputalam, and it is about goddess Meenakshi of the town of Madurai in Tamil Nadu.
Actually, Vidya, let's spend a couple of minutes talking about the temple town of Madurai and the temple of goddess Meenakshi in it. Madurai is a South Indian temple town really worth visiting if you haven't been there before. It's one of South India's oldest cities and is on every South Indian tourist's must-see list. The temple itself is the main attraction of this grand city, and it attracts over 10,000 visitors in any given day. The bulk of the temple was built during the reign of Sri Tirumala Nayak, who lived from 1623 to 1655. But the history of the temple actually goes back 2,000 years, when Madurai was a Pandyan capital, Pandyans being one of South India's main ruling dynasties. Speaking of the Sthala Purana itself, which essentially means story of the place, legend has it that goddess Meenakshi, or Parvati, is the daughter of Malayadwaja Pandyan. Meenakshi embarked on a Digvijaya, or tour of victory, across the length and breadth of the Indian subcontinent. She later is said to have married Lord Shiva, and together with Lord Shiva, who's also known as Sundara Pandyan, Shiva and Meenakshi are said to have ruled over Madurai. There are, of course, several other legends surrounding this temple. But now, Vidya, let's come back to the song itself, Maamava Meenakshi.
Here's how I would like to approach the discussion of the song. We will first go over the Pallavi, or the opening segment of the song, and I will sing it for you and also discuss the meaning. And then we will move on to the second segment, which is called the Samashti Charanam in this song's case. And again, we will discuss some of the salient aspects of the Samashti Charanam. The Pallavi and the Samashti Charanam format is an interesting format that is sort of unique to Muthuswami Dikshita's compositions. Typically, the Kriti format has the Pallavi as the opening segment, the Anupallavi as the second segment, and then the Charanam as the third segment. But we find a number of Muthuswami Dikshita compositions where the Pallavi is immediately followed by the Charanam. Coming to the Pallavi segment, the meaning is essentially that goddess Meenakshi, also known as Matangi, is described as one who holds a jewel-studded musical instrument called Vallaki, and I'm sure many of our listeners who have listened to our segments on the Veena would recall that we mentioned that it is very common for Hindu gods and goddesses to be depicted as either singing or playing on a musical instrument. So in this composition, Sri Dikshita describes goddess Meenakshi as playing on the Vallaki, and he describes her as one who speaks very sweetly and mellifluously, and he has very cleverly and seamlessly incorporated the name of the raga Varali. And when I looked up the meaning of the word Varali in Sanskrit, it essentially means a bee, and he describes goddess Meenakshi as Varali Veni, that is one whose hair resembles a swarm of bees. I'm going to now sing the Pallavi segment of this composition. Maamava Meenakshi Raja Matangi Maamava Meenakshi Raja Matangi Manikya Vallaki Pani Maduravani Varali Veni Maamava Meenakshi Raja Matangi Manikya Vallaki Pani Maduravani Varali Veni Maamava Meenakshi. Moving on to the second and concluding segment of the piece, which is also known as the Samashti Charanam. Sri Dikshita describes goddess Meenakshi as one who is the pulsating, joyous form of Soma Sundareshwara. So the Lord Shiva in the Madurai temple is known as Sundareshwara, and Meenakshi is described as his consort. The composer calls her as Shyame. Shyama is a word in Sanskrit meaning dark. He also describes her as Shankari, and one who has the glory of being victorious over all the cardinal directions. He describes her as Dik Vijaya Pratapini, which, as Devesh briefly mentioned in the Madurai legend, is a reference to goddess Meenakshi's conquest of almost the entire Indian subcontinent. Let me sing these two lines now. Soma Sundareshwara Sukha Spurti Rupini Soma Sundareshwara Sukha Spurti Rupini Shyame Shankar श्यामे शङ्करे दिग्विजय प्रतापिणी श्यामे शङ्करे दिग्विजय प्रतापिणी. It is also interesting to note that this particular line, Shyame Shankari Digvijaya Pratapini, is very popular for the form of improvisation that is known as Neraval. So this line is often used by musicians to perform the Neraval improvisation.
Vidya, the concept of Neraval is a very interesting and involved topic. Let's do this. Let's discuss Neraval in the next episode. For now, let's continue our discussion on the meaning behind this song and talk about the various ways in which the composer describes goddess Meenakshi.
Definitely. Shri Muthuswami Dikshitar describes goddess Meenakshi as Hema Ratna Abharana Bhushani, that is one who is adorned with gem-studded golden jewels. So Hema is the Sanskrit term meaning golden, and Ratna means jewels or gems. He says she resides in the hearts of Isha and Guru Guha. So Isha is a common term used to denote Lord Shiva, and Guru Guha, of course, is Sri Dikshitar's mudra or signature term, and it also refers to Lord Muruga or Lord Subramania, who is the son of Shiva and Parvati. So let me sing these two lines now. Hema Ratna Varana Bhushani Isha Guru Guha Hridayartini. Hema Ratna Varana Bhushani Isha Guru Guha Hridayartini. The last two lines are the Madhyama Kala or fast-paced passage in this composition, and I'm sure many of our listeners would recall that in one of the earlier Raaga Rasika segments we described this term Madhyama Kala, which essentially means fast-paced, and in the Madhyama Kala segment Muthuswami Dikshitar describes goddess Meenakshi as Kamitartha Vitarana Dorani, that is one who is the foremost in bestowing the desired boons upon her devotees. Karunyamrita Paripurani, that is one who drenches her devotees in the nectar of compassion or Karunya. Kama Krodadi Nivarini, that is one who removes bad qualities such as desire or kama and krodha or anger. Finally, he describes her as Kadamba Anana Viharini, that is one who resides in the forest of Kadamba. And of course, the meter and the rhyme in these lines is really noteworthy. Kavitata Vitarana Dorani Karunyamrita Paripurani Kama Krodadini Varini Kadamba Anana Viharini Maamava Meenakshi. Kamitata Vitarana Dorani Karunyamrita Paripurani Kama Krodadini Varini Kadamba Anana Viharini Maamava Meenakshi.
Thanks, Vidya. Let's pause here and continue our conversation on this interesting composition in the next episode. Join us next time, where we will highlight some of the key Varali phrases that Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar incorporates in this composition. Also, we will define and discuss the new Carnatic music term that Vidya introduced in this episode, the concept of Neraval. Before we conclude, Vidya and I would like to share with you all an exciting idea for our upcoming episode 50, which we would like to dedicate to you all, our listeners. We are calling for submissions for a special listener submitted episode 50. We welcome you all to contribute and participate in Raaga Rasika. Here's how you go about it. Record a 3-minute snippet of yourself singing or playing a Carnatic piece. It can be a composition or just a raga alapana. Email it to us in MP3 format at raagarasika@live.com. That's RAAGARASIKA at live, LIVE.com. When you do email your submission, please let us know your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself. We welcome submissions from listeners of all ages. Vidya and I will select some of the really interesting submissions and play them live for episode 50. To learn more about Vidya, visit her online at vidyasubramanian.com. Send us your comments and feedback at www.raagarasika.com. Hope to see you next time as we continue our journey in Carnatic music. Till then, goodbye.
Dani papa mani pama pagaga mari rama mava ida papa papa mani ida papa maga mada baga madani baga kamada nani pama mari rama mava re madani papa papa madani re papa Gamada madani dani dari gamari da ba mada dani ni ba ma gamani da ba ba ma ga mani ni da ba ba ma gamari da ma vasda dani dani ba ma gamari da re gamadani da dani re da ba mada dani ni da ba gamada madani dani dari gamari da ba madani dari re dari Mari da diriri ni dari baga mari da 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 mari da 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 mari da dani ni dani dani dari gari ga mari da ba ga madani dani ba ma ga ba ma mari da ma va da dani